Hey everyone, Angie back for another Barista Basics video. I hope that you guys are doing well. First off, I'd like to apologize for the lack of video last week. I took care of some personal matters last Wednesday. I'll leave it at that. If you know, you know. But yeah, so I was unable to film last Wednesday, but I am back this week with a new episode, which, as you can tell from the title, is going to discuss coffee-flavored desserts. So as you can imagine, coffee is something that just pairs well with desserts in general. Whether or not the dessert itself is coffee flavored, you can have, a nice biscuit, maybe a nice slice of cake, a croissant, scone, muffin, what have you, and enjoy a nice cup of coffee with it, and it'll only elevate your experience. But obviously coffee flavored desserts combine these two guys together so that you can enjoy both without having to enjoy them separately. I don't know why I felt the need to say that. It's pretty obvious what coffee flavored desserts are, but yes. So basically this video is just going to talk about some coffee flavored desserts. So to start, I think, probably the titular coffee flavored dessert, in my opinion, is tiramisu, which is so good, top tier, one of my top tier desserts, to be honest. But essentially what it is, it's an Italian dessert that is comprised of two kinds of layers that are stacked on top of each other. So one layer, which is the first layer you put down, are ladyfingers soaked in coffee. Here's where the coffee comes in, obviously. And so this makes the ladyfingers nice and soft, almost like fall apart almost, because they're saturated with this coffee. So that's how you start building your tiramisu. You place that layer on the bottom. Then above that, you place a layer of essentially kind of a cream filling made with mascarpone cheese, which sounds kind of weird. I know you're like, cheese in a dessert, but mascarpone's not really a super flavorful cheese in my experience. It's usually used, at least in the recipes I've seen it used in, it's used to kind of more so change the consistency or the texture of something and impart, a little bit of flavor, but it's not really there to make your dessert or whatever it is taste crazy like cheese. So it sounds kind of weird, but it's very good, trust me. So then you make this cream that is incorporated with the mascarpone. You add that layer on top of your coffee-soaked ladyfingers, and then you just repeat the process. You do the ladyfingers again, and you do the mascarpone cream kind of sauce, and then you just sprinkle on top cocoa powder, and that's it. Very delicious tiramisu. Again, this is a top-tier dessert for me. It's honestly kind of hard to mess it up. It's very simple. The components are all very simple. So if you ever go out to a restaurant and you're not entirely sure, if you're overwhelmed with the kind of desserts that they have on their menu, tiramisu, in my opinion, is always a go-to for me personally anyways. So that's probably the most titular, the most well-known kind of coffee dessert. At least for me personally, when I was thinking of this video, I was like, what are some desserts that contain coffee? Oh, duh, tiramisu was the first one that came to mind. So we have tiramisu. And now we have, so that's one specific type of dessert that contains coffee. Now the next things I'm going to talk about are sort of more, how you could say, general desserts that can be flavored to taste like coffee. It'll make sense in a second. So for example, there's coffee flavored ice cream. Obviously, ice cream is a dessert. Traditionally, ice cream isn't, flavored with coffee. It's, you typically think of chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, mint, chocolate chip, maybe whatever. But of course, you can also have coffee flavored ice cream, which is also very good. Yeah, I've noticed in a certain mood to have coffee flavored ice cream. I'd rather I just said I'd rather. My gosh, I'm like Elmer Fudd. I'd rather have like a different kind of ice cream and, have my coffee in another kind of way, but, it's very good. If there's some chocolate chips in there, I've seen, like I've gotten coffee flavored ice cream with chocolate chips, kind of like a Java chip situation. That one is very good. But just like coffee flavored ice cream, I'm like, she's good, but, like, she doesn't blow my mind. So, coffee flavored ice cream, we have, you could also do cookies or brownies infused with coffee. You could literally use a little bit of actual coffee when you mix the batter for these guys, and that would, of course, impart some coffee flavor in them. There's also, I should also say, really anything. So I talked about this, I don't even know when, but way back when I was in South Carolina. I'm pretty sure I did anyways. But when you see anything that says mocha on it, that's sort of a term that has been coined that essentially means this contains chocolate and this contains coffee in it, and that's mocha. So if you see any dessert on a menu, or, if you go out to a grocery store and you see anything with mocha in it, it's coffee and chocolate. So, you can have mocha cheesecake, you can have mocha cake, you can have mocha cupcakes, really anything you can flavor to be mocha. But I just wanted to put that out there because obviously mocha desserts contain coffee because mocha is chocolate plus coffee. But I just wanted to clarify that if you see anything that contains mocha, it is going to taste somewhat like coffee. So those are kind of the more general desserts. So we talked about one specific dessert like dish known for coffee. We've talked about a few kind of general desserts that can be flavored like coffee or that can contain mocha. And now we can talk about kind of more like specialized, I guess, kind of desserts, you could say. And so I was really racking my brain about what could kind of fit in this category, and I came up with, I thought of two different kind of desserts. One are chocolate-covered espresso beans or chocolate-covered coffee beans. Of course, I mean, really, this is like mocha, really, if you think about it, right? Chocolate and coffee. But obviously, chocolate-covered espresso beans or coffee beans, you actually have the full bean in there, the full roasted bean that is obviously coated in some kind of chocolate, whether it be dark, milk, white, what have you. And that's a dessert. Obviously, it gives you caffeine because it's a bean, coffee bean, espresso bean. And to be honest, these aren't my favorite necessarily. They don't taste bad. If you see them, I'd recommend you trying them because they are a really easy way to just get a quick boost of caffeine and, have a little bit of coffee flavor. They're also not very caloric from my understanding. Especially if you just eat like one or two, it won't kill you. So it's really good for those purposes. But for me personally, I just don't really like the crunch of, I just don't like chewing a coffee bean, It's like kind of brittle. And so that one's just not really for me. But obviously it's worth mentioning because it is a coffee flavored dessert, a dessert that contains coffee. Then the other kind of specialized dessert that I thought of is chocolate containing coffee, like chocolate bars containing coffee, or like caffeinated chocolate. These I've never personally had before. I guess, like, I've had a chocolate covered espresso bean, but I've never had like a chocolate bar that is caffeinated. And I imagine it's pretty dangerous because I don't know about you, but if it's like dark chocolate, I can go in on like a whole chocolate bar and not feel bad about it. So God forbid it contains caffeine in it. I'll be on like a sugar high and bouncing off the walls. So this one, I imagine you also kind of need to proceed with caution. you know, especially if you have a sweet tooth for chocolate, I can imagine somebody could definitely go overboard and just eat, again, a whole bar of it. Um, but then your body might not necessarily be thanking you afterwards when you are all jittery and you have all this energy and you don't know what to do with it. So maybe be careful with that one. But I would like to try it in the future. I For this video, I tried Googling, you know, if there were any like well-known caffeinated chocolate or like chocolate bars that contain coffee, sort of like manufacturers, and I found a brand called Awake in all caps. It has a cute little owl as sort of its like mascot on its logo. Again, I haven't had it, but if you're looking to try something like this, that's one of the ones that I found online. I very well may purchase an item from them, maybe, and maybe do a. I could do like a little taste test video, possibly. We could see. But yeah, I just felt like mentioning that because if you are interested in getting this kind of treat, then if you look up Awake, again, that I'm sure there are other brands that exist, of course, but that's just one that I saw. Kind of had good reviews, seemed pretty, you know, popular, a bit prevalent. So I'd recommend trying that guy out. And I think, yeah, I think that's it for the video. So again, we have tiramisu, which is sort of like the titular coffee-containing dessert. Then we have sort of just, you know, general desserts that can be made a certain way to contain coffee. So, you know, cakes, cheesecakes, brownies, cookies, ice cream, you know, what have you. Anything that contains mocha as well implies coffee and chocolate. And then we have the specialized, you know, kind of more specialized, whatever, how you want to call them, desserts, like the chocolate-covered coffee beans, the chocolate-covered espresso beans, or chocolate bars containing coffee, or like caffeinated chocolate. And that's it. I don't know how, again, I cannot be concise clearly because I don't know how a simple video turns into 12 minutes, but it's me, so who's really surprised? But I digress. I hope that you guys are taking care. I hope that you are staying safe, sane, healthy, entertained, and motivated. If you are protesting, I hope you're staying extra, extra, super duper safe, of course. If you are, well, if you're protesting, of course, staying extra, super duper safe. I hope that you have an emergency contact or somebody you trust, you know, close by in case something happens. I also hope that you are staying extra, extra, super duper warm, because it is absolutely frigid. That is why I'm not filming outside, because it is way too cold. So I hope that you are staying safe and warm. And I appreciate you guys so much for checking the video out. I will see you next week for a new video. I don't have anything planned for next Wednesday, so I should be, you know, green light, good to go to make a new video. But yeah, that's it for this week's video. I hope that you guys learned something, and I hope that you guys take care. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.